Hey, welcome back to part 4, I think, of the Criterion Collection. Well, it's part 4 of the Criterion Collection, but it'll be part 4 of my entire collection as well. And I'll be doing that for a couple people, Monty, Collector Stuff, and another gentleman who I'm not really sure he'd be comfortable with me saying so, but I think he has trouble breathing, and I don't think he makes videos, but he comments on them from time to time, and he has sent me some personal messages, and I'm pleased that I can make these videos for, and hopefully those two will enjoy them as they recuperate or as they just watch the videos. Anyway, up to the M's. I'm doing them alphabetically by Blu-ray first, and then I'll do the DVDs afterwards. So, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. What a great movie! One of my favorite Chaplin movies of all time. I really love the some of the slapstick stuff he does with the machinery. It's the story of the little tramp gets a job in a factory, and it's run with a lot of I guess modern day for 1936, and it is pretty modern actually. Some of the stuff is pretty ingenious. He came up with. 87 minutes long, black and white, 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio. This is his last outing as a little tramp. It's in a giddily inept factory. He is a giddily inept factory employee, I should say, who becomes smitten with a gorgeous gamine, Paulette Goddard. With its barrage of unforgettable gags and sly commentary on class struggle during the Great Depression, Modern Times, though made almost a decade into the talkie era and containing moments of sound, even song, is a timeless showcase of Chaplin's untouchable genius as a director of silent comedy. And just a shitload of extras on this. I can't even get into all of it. There's just a lot. Whole movie by Alistair Cook featuring Chaplin and actress Paulette Goddard with a new, or is it Goddard? Maybe it's Goddard. With a new score. Just a lot of stuff here. Yeah. Lots of stuff. Lots of extras, lots of commentary type. Is there a commentary on this? I'm not sure there is. Yeah, new audio commentary by Charles Chaplin biographer David Robinson. Yeah, good stuff. And I find the silent movies hold up better for commentary than a lot of others because you don't really need to hear them anyway. So you're not missing dialogue when the person's commenting. You're not missing key moments in the film that are moved by dialogue. The nice thing about a silent movie, everything is moved by the action on the screen, occasionally by subtitles, but you don't need to have sound to enjoy this. And I also like, this is great for a lot of movies, but I also like to put on music in the background while I'm watching something like this. So maybe I'll be playing, I don't know, Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, although that really goes with The Wizard of Oz, if you believe that. I suppose if you start up The Wizard of Oz at the exact moment that you start anyway, look it up on Google. You'll find something on that if you're not familiar with it. Anyway, you can put on anything. Genesis, Bruce Springsteen, The Grateful Dead, modern rap music if you want. Well, that's not my thing, but if it's yours. But I do own a few rap albums, I should say. Anyway, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. Enough on rap. Next, another Charlie Chaplin movie that just so happens. And I'm glad I wish they were all side by side, but that's not how I arrange things. This has got a thick book with it, by the way. And I really enjoyed this movie. 1947. So this is 11 years after his last silent movie. And after he's done The Great Dictator and probably some others. But this is a interesting movie. 124 minutes, black and white, 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio. Is called Monsieur Verdoux. Or Verdot. I think it's Verdoux. He stars as a husband who is hit hard by financial times, trying to make ends meet for his family. And so he lives a second, third, fourth, fifth life, whatever you want to call it, as a gigolo of sorts who woos and then marries rich women and then kills them and takes their inheritance. It's a comedy. It's a black comedy. As it says, Charlie Chaplin plays shockingly against type his most controversial film, a brilliant, bleak black comedy about money, marriage, and murder. Chaplin is a 20th century Bluebeard, an enigmatic family man who goes to extreme lengths to support his wife and child, attempting to bump off a series of wealthy widows, including one played by the indefatigable Martha Ray. An hilarious performance. That one is pretty good. This deeply philosophical and wildly entertaining film is a work of true sophistication, both for the moral questions it dares to ask and for the way it deconstructs its megastar's lovable on-screen persona. Yeah, he's still somewhat lovable in this, even though he's a murderer. I don't know how to explain that, but he is. Anyway, that's Monsieur Verdot, Charles Chaplin. Funny how he changed his name. He was Charlie Chaplin in modern times, and Charles Chaplin when he made this one. I don't know if that's his doing or it's the Criterion Collection's doing. God, I haven't seen this movie in years, and I have not watched it on the Criterion Collection. This is a got one of those brochure things, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's got one of my favorite bit part actors. I don't know if I should say bit part, but supporting actors would be a better way. Walter Brennan in this. I love Walter Brennan. I just thought he was his voice and his mannerisms. He started on a show called The Real McCoys some years ago. I remember seeing that. It's dating me a little bit. This is a John Ford film. You can't go wrong with a John Ford film. Spine 732. One of the best westerns I've ever seen, actually. Henry Fonda stars as White Herb. Trying to clean up the disorderly Arizona town of Tombstone. And Victor Mature gives a performance of his career as a boozy, tubercular gambler and gunman Doc Holliday. This is a telling of that story, and this is My Darling Clementine. Yeah, great movie. I haven't watched it on. I should really watch this one since I bought it. But it's one of those ones that I've seen the movie and loved the movie. It's been years since I've seen it. It's on TV years ago. But I should dig this out and watch it again because it really was a great. And that's why I bought it. The idea would be I also like this one because it had the 4K digital restoration. It's got a new audio commentary featuring John Ford's biographer Joseph McBride, a new interview with Western historian about the real White Herb. So it's got a ton of crap on here that I wanted to watch. I just haven't done it yet. But I want to watch the movie before I watch all the extra stuff. Here's the inside. The OK Corral. Yeah. Good stuff. One of the movies, it's funny because I didn't know this movie was the movie that I remembered. I watched this movie years ago. Directed by, my allergies are killing me. You'll have to excuse my sniffling. Roy Ward Baker, 1958, 123 minutes. I saw this on television and always thought it was the best depiction of the sinking of the Titanic, by far. So 1958, 123 minutes, I said that. 166 to 1 aspect ratio. A good amount of extras on this and a decent-sized book lit. But what really got me about this movie was, well, everything. It's the story of the sinking of the Titanic. It's spine number 7. And it's A Night to Remember. And look at that visual image there of the lifeboats. And probably a lot of their loved ones going down as the Titanic finally took on so much water that it could no longer stay afloat. And it went into the sea. What an amazing film for 1958. Beautifully done. The black and white restoration on this is incredible. I mean, it just looks fantastic, and it's a great movie. No other movie, including Titanic, no other movie depicts as well the events of that evening and the impact on people as A Night to Remember. So, if you're all intrigued about the Titanic, I always was, about how a ship that was unsinkable could sink on its maiden voyage, this is the movie you want to watch. By far, the captain in it is great. You can understand how it happened, although you can scratch your head and say, "Oh my God, if only they had." This could have been avoided. Much of it could have been avoided. Maybe not the well, maybe even the iceberg, but certainly even after it hit the iceberg, a lot of lives could have been saved had some things been done differently. Anyway, night to remember. Next, it's been a while since I watched this one too. It's from 1984, 145 minutes, color 178 to 1 aspect ratio, spine 501. This is from Wim Wenders, and who's done Wings of Desire, which I'll get to later. This is a story of follows a mysterious, nearly mute drifter who's trying to connect with his young son, living with his brother, who's Dean Stockwell in Los Angeles, and his missing wife, played by Natasha Kinski. From the simple setup, Wenders and Shepard produce a. Sam Shepard is the he wrote it. Sam Shepard did. Sorry. Produce a statement of masculinity and the myth of the American family. Yeah, I thought, sometimes simple movies are the best, and this is a simple movie. Yet not. Simple premise, but not not a lot goes on plot-wise, I guess. But a lot goes on between the characters. And just a crap load of extras and a big, thick booklet in here. Really, I haven't read the booklet, but I have seen the movie. And that's Paris, Texas by Wim Wenders. Love the artwork. Or the photograph, I should say, on the front. Yeah. Okay. Onward and upward. This is an interesting movie by Victor Jostrom. Supposedly affected numerous directors, which I have a lot of respect for, but this is interesting. It's spine number 500. I'm surprised this is high. 579, 1921. It is a silent movie. It does have the intertitles along with English subtitles, but you won't have a problem watching the movie. Here's the legend of it. It's the Phantom Carriage. Oh, the image there. The last person on New Year's Eve before the clock strikes 12 is doomed to take the reins of Death's chariot and work tirelessly collecting fresh souls for the next year. So says the legend that drives the Phantom Carriage. Directed by the father of Swedish cinema, Victor Jostrom. Starts with an S, but I'm pretty sure it's silent. The story, based on a novel by Nobel Prize winner Selma Lagerlöf, concerns an alcoholic, abusive ne'er-do-well, played by Jostrom himself, who is shown the error of his ways and the pure of heart Salvation Army sister who believes in his redemption. This extraordinarily rich and innovative silent classic, which inspired Ingmar Bergman to make movies, is a Dickensian ghost story and a deeply moving morality tale, as well as a showcase for groundbreaking special effects. Yeah, you have to watch it, but it's all tinted this greenish, bluish color. It's interesting though. Yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. This next one I have not watched because I just got it. I have opened it though. Another brochure versus a booklet, sadly. More modern movie, Spine 809, 2014, 98 minutes long. It's a 2.39. It's in German with English subtitles. Somebody told me I had the plot wrong, but I read it off the back. I haven't watched it, but somebody told me the plot was wrong. I don't believe the Criterion Collection got it wrong. Somebody told me, as in they made a comment on YouTube, so, take that for what it's worth. But this evocative and haunting drama set in rubble-strewn Berlin in 1945 is like no other film about post-World War II and the Jewish-German identity. After surviving Auschwitz, a former cabaret singer, Nina Haas, in a dazzling multi-layered performance, has her disfigured face reconstructed and returns to her war-ravaged home to seek out her genteel husband, who may or may not have betrayed her to the Nazis. Without recognizing her, because of her reconstruction, He enlists her to play his wife in a bizarre, half of shattered mirror story that is as richly metaphorical as it is engrossing. Revenge film or tale of romantic reconciliation? One doesn't know until the superb closing scene of this marvel from Christian Petzold, one of the most important figures in contemporary German cinema. Quite a few extras. It's rare that I buy a movie. I buy a lot of blind buys on Criterion because I know they're going to select good movies, and I haven't been, with maybe one or two exceptions, I have not been disappointed. And I really have to think long and hard about what movies might have disappointed me, because I probably don't own them anymore, I guess. I can't see anything on the shelf right now that I was disappointed with. So there's some that are less, that are less, I don't know, that are less good to me than I thought they might be because of the hype. But they were still good movies, and I still hold them dear in my collection. But this one I bought primarily because of the cover. And that's what interested me. And then I read the back, and that's what caused me to buy the movie. Look at that. Phoenix, rising from the ashes, so to speak, huh? Interesting. Anyway, that's another one on my short list to watch soon. This one I've seen numerous times. Watched it when I first got it. I think I've seen most of the extras on this one. And I did read the booklet, although it's very thick. From 1979, 120 minutes. It says 2.0 stereo, but you know what? This is presented in DTS HD Master Audio. It's got a 5.1 surround mix, in other words, what I'm saying, which it should. And this is Frank Rodham's Quadrophenia, director approved, which is why it has a sticker on it. The sticker is on the actual case. I only do that when it's director approved. And it is director approved. This is The Who. It's the story of, it's not The Who, but there's an actor who plays Jimmy. It's a kind of a coming of age, the subculture that took place in Britain, London in particular, during the 60s, early 60s. We had the mods and the rockers and the, I get that right, don't I? Mods and rockers, I think so. He is a clothes-obsessed, pill-popping, scooter-driving mod. And motorcycle and a group whose antipathy for the motorcycle-riding rockers leads to a climactic riot in Brighton. Yeah, this is good stuff. It's a fantastic soundtrack. One of The Who's greatest albums, in my opinion. Better than Tommy, in my opinion. Love Quadrophenia. Love Reigns Over Me. 5:15. I've had enough. I should say Love Reign Over Me, not Love Reigns Over Me. Love Reign Over Me. I've had enough. 5:15. There's just a ton of great songs on this, and they all sound fantastic in 5.1. So, Quadrophenia. Great pickup, and one that you might be surprised is on the Criterion collection. I'm not, but it might surprise some folks. This one should be no surprise. Classic movie from 1948, 134 minutes long, from Powell and Pressburger. You'll hear their name a lot in the Criterion collection, and with good reason. They have done some amazing things, and the Blu-ray special features on this thing are talking about the red shoes. Beautiful cover art on that. Kind of striking. Yeah, this movie, she's a ballerina torn between her impresario and an idealistic composer. It's a love story. It's sort of a hallucinatory scenes in it. I can't give away a lot, but it's a love story. She's pulled between two, and she is the ballerina who's kind of fragile in some ways and maybe not so fragile in others. It's beautifully shot. The cinematography on here, this is gorgeous. I'm sure it's Technicolor, but it's done very well, as most of the films by Powell and Pressburger are. Spine 44, 1948, 134 minutes, so it's over 2 hours long. Great movie. Sad, but great. Another movie I haven't watched, from 2008, 122 minutes. I bought this one based upon a review I read. 502 is the spine. Is Revanche, which I think translates to revenge. I do want to watch this one soon, though. A gripping thriller and a tragic drama of nearly Greek proportions. Revanche is a stunning Oscar-nominated international breakthrough of Austrian filmmaker Götz Spielmann. In a ragged section of Vienna, hardened ex-con Alex, the mesmerizing Johann Creech, works in a brothel where he falls for Ukrainian hooker Tamara. Their desperate plans for escape unexpectedly intersect with the lives of a rural cop and his seemingly content wife. With meticulous, elegant direction, Spielmann creates a tense, existential, and surprising portrait of vengeance and redemption, and a journey into the darkest forest of human nature in which violence and beauty exist side by side. So you can see why I bought it. That sounds really intriguing. 127 minutes. It's in German with English subtitles. 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. These things are all over the board, these aspect ratios. Revanche. Don't know the significance of this. Looks like someone drowning to me, but don't know. Never watched it. Never even opened it. That's rare. I usually open them. I don't know why I didn't open this one. There's times I don't open it because it's out of print, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll hold on to that sucker, and maybe I'll sell it as new on eBay at some point. That's not the case with this one. I don't know why I haven't opened it. I guess I just haven't gotten around to it. With so many to watch, and I keep adding, that's what happens. This one I watched, though. 7:57. I've seen the movie before, but I wanted to watch it again, and so I watched it on here. Pretty good amount of extras. This one's got one of those booklet things. Yeah, it's Spine 757. I may have said that. It's a 5.1 surround. I like this movie a lot. Mark Rydell film starring Bette Midler, The Rose. Maybe a surprising Criterion, but I really liked it. I really thought it was done well. Sort of a Janis Joplin character. She is, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, maybe man addicted to some extent. Still one man. It says it is a sensitively drawn and emotionally overwhelming melodrama that made the popular singer into a movie star as well. Yeah, it did. This really turned Bette Midler into a movie star. She's brilliant in this. And I can't remember her character is Mary Rose Foster, known simply as the Rose to her legions of fans. And it's believable. I thought the performances in this were really good. It's hard to film concert footage, and they do a great job with it. And when you start having red lights and blue lights and things like that, the lighting tends to be tougher to photograph well. They did a great job with it. I don't know who the cinematographer is on this thing, but he did a great job. And I don't know if they mentioned cinematographers, including Conrad Hall, Laszlo Kovacs, Owen Rotzman, and Haskell Wexler. A host of world-class cinematographers. Yeah, no doubt. You have to have that for the concert scenes. Great stuff. Highly recommend The Rose. Not as highly as I'd recommend the next one, though. Segues here. I can't read the spine on this thing. That's the way the plastic is on it. 6 something. 6:30. This movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. 1968, 138 minutes. It's in color, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. This is Roman Polanski's maybe best film. Hard to say, but it's one of his best films. Rosemary's Baby with Mia Farrow. Around the time she was married to Frank Sinatra. John Cassavetes is in this. She plays her husband. Probably played her husband to get some money to make his own films. We'll talk more about John Cassavetes when I get to this set way over here. The 5 films of John Cassavetes. But needless to say, great movie. Ruth Gordon's in this, and she's spooky in it, if you ask me. The whole neighbors are all spooky. Basic story is Rosemary is convinced that something's wrong. Something's wrong with her neighbors. Something's wrong with the building. Something's wrong with everything. She's pregnant, and the neighbors seem to have an overwhelming interest in her pregnancy and how it's coming along. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that. If you haven't seen it, it's been a while since I watched this movie. I watched it when I first got it. 1995 movie. It's in color. Stars, who does this star? Julianne Moore, who I enjoy. In this movie, it was rough. Okay. Let me read you the back. It's probably easier than trying to. Julianne Moore gives a breakthrough performance as Carol White, a Los Angeles housewife in the late 1980s who comes down with a debilitating illness. After the doctor she sees can give her no clear diagnosis, she comes to believe that she has frighteningly extreme environmental allergies, like to all the toxins that are in our environment, whether it be hairsprays or additives in our food. So she thinks she's allergic to all those things, and that it's causing her physical problems. And so a profoundly unsettling work from the great American director Todd Haynes, Safe, it's called, functions on multiple levels as a prescient commentary on self-help culture, as a metaphor for the AIDS crisis, as a drama about class and social estrangement. It's a horror film about what you cannot see. Yeah, she has physical manifestations that you can't deny. And she just tries to close herself off from everything that's unsafe. Hence the title Safe, maybe. Interesting. I'm not sure what the significance of the colors are here. I have no clue. And I've watched the movie. It's mine 739. Not the greatest Criterion film, but it interested me. So I recommend it. If that's the kind of movie you like. And some people with the Criterions don't like the subtitles. They're not a fan of the foreign films. That's fine. Excuse me. I happen to like those, but if you're not a fan of that, and a lot of people aren't, then a movie like Safe maybe is a better bet for you than some of the others. Or go with a silent movie like this one. Another segue. 662 from 1923, 73 minutes long. Black and white, I mentioned it's silent. The comic genius of silent star Harold Lloyd is eternal. Chaplin is the sweet innocent, Keaton the stoic outsider, but Lloyd is the modern guy striving for success. He's us. He's us. And with its torrent of perfectly executed gags and astonishing stunts, Safety Last, this movie, is the perfect introduction to Harold Lloyd. I would agree. He plays a small-town bumpkin trying to make it in the big city who finds employment as a lowly department store clerk, gives him with a wild publicity stunt to draw attention to the store, resulting in an incredible feat of daring do on his part that gets him started on the climb of success. Laugh out loud funny and jaw-dropping in equal measure. Safety Last is a movie experience par excellence, anchored by a genuine legend, and a genius. Tons of extras, including a bunch of extra films that I have not watched. I did watch this one though, and the cover is well, you've probably seen this before, maybe. I don't know. I know I have over the years. I think he did his own stunt. But he climbs inside of a building to try to the department store, to try to give it some recognition, I guess, some publicity. It's really interesting. And of course, the climb doesn't go like you'd think it would. Hence the scene you see right here hanging from the hand of the clock. Back in the day, a lot of these stunts were actually done. Now, he may not have been that high up above things, but he was high enough. A lot of times it would be an illusion. You have to watch it. And I'm not sure. Someone had to look it up. I'm not sure if he really was that high up or not. I just know he did his own stunts in a lot of cases. Okay, this is a trilogy by Hiroshi Inagaki. Taking a shot there. Yeah, spy numbers 14, 15, and 16. The Samurai Trilogy. I thought this was really good. And that's why it's on the Criterion Collection. The first one is called Miyashi Miyamoto, then Duel at Ichiyoji Temple, and finally Duel at Ganru Island. Actually, anyway, the trilogy directed by and starring the inimitable Toshiro Mifune, who you may know is in a lot of the films by Akira Kurosawa, including Seven Samurai, which we will get to later on. Or actually, we already did that. That's in the box sets, yes? It should be. Yeah, we already talked about Seven Samurai. But he's he is the perfect samurai dude, I think. And anyway, it's a gripping tale of combat and self-discovery based on a novel that often is called Japan's Gone with the Wind. This sweeping, I don't know about that, but this sweeping saga fictionalizes the life of legendary 17th century swordsman and writer and artist Musashi Miyamoto, following him on his path from unruly youth to enlightened warrior. With these three films, 1954's Oscar-winning Musashi Miyamoto, and then 1955's The Duel at Ichiyoji Temple, and then 1956 Duel at Ganru Island. The director created a passionate epic. It's equal parts tender love story and bloody action. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Not the greatest samurai movie I've ever seen, but I really liked it. I don't know about Gone with the Wind. I thought it was a good epic story. So I love the artwork on it. I don't know what to say about this movie. I had trouble watching this one. Yeah, it's from 1969. I don't know what else to say. 1969, 130 minutes. It's in color. It's in Italian. It's a Fellini film, Satiricon. Basically, it's about two guys who are, well, one's a handsome scholar and his vulgar, insatiably lusty friend, as they move through a landscape of freeform pagan excess, creating apparent chaos with exquisite control. Fellini constructs a weird old world that feels like science fiction. Yeah, the whole thing feels like, I don't know, some sort of otherworldly. Maybe if I can show you a couple scenes. I believe there's a couple things in here that I can show you. There's one of these weird brochures again. Okay, this is the only one that's here is this. Perhaps this says enough. Gives you an idea of the type of things you run across. Just really, this is what I mean about these brochures. Chintzy, if you ask me. Not a big fan of them, and it seems like Criterion more and more are going to this. I don't know if they think the poster is something that people want, with the creases in it and everything. I don't. So I just leave it in the case. Tons of extras on this though. I didn't even watch the whole thing, to be honest with you. I might probably have to go back and watch it again. I started to watch it and it got weird, and maybe I just need to watch it in the right frame of mind. Somebody who's watched Satiricon, you want to comment on that and let me know what your thoughts are. I watched about 3/4 of it, kind of hit and miss. I think I was busy that day, and it's been a while since I tried to get through. Maybe a year since I watched it, but I will pop it in again. I should. This is one of those ones that I was less thrilled with than maybe I could have been, but maybe I didn't give it a fair chance either. The next one I really liked though, 667. This was a surprise to me. Nothing about it jumped out at me and said it's going to be a good movie, but it was. In 1966, 107 minutes, 1.75 to 1 aspect ratio. Here's another one. 667 is as fine as I said. Somebody just said it was a good movie, and so I decided to get it. But John Frankenheimer, the cover didn't do much for me. I guess some people really like it. I didn't care for it. It's a story about a man who kind of wants to relive his life, I guess, or live it over again. He goes through an elaborate procedure that will grant him a new life, starting over in America, starring Rock Hudson. It's a science fiction type movie. He starts out as an older man who has some money, wants to start over again, and so he was able to transfer his self into a younger, newer body. Surprising for a 1968 movie when you think about it. 1966 movie. Anyway, Seconds. I thought it was good. Not great, but good. Yeah, this one's great. And this is the reason I started to collect Criterion movies in the first place, and was one of the first, I don't know if it was the first, one of the first Criterion movies I ever bought. 1957, 97 minutes, black and white. It's in Swedish with English subtitles. That may tell you something. From the legendary Ingmar Bergman, and he records an introduction that he recorded in 2003 before his death for this movie. I saw this when I was a kid. It was on public television. I was flipping through the channels. I came across this movie. There's this dude on a beach playing chess with death. I was like, what the hell is this? And I watched the whole thing and was sort of mesmerized by it. It was just a different movie. Just themes of religion and God and death and stuff that you don't really see depicted in quite that way as Bergman did. And of course, he's Woody Allen's favorite director. He's legendary in a lot of ways. He has been very influential in cinema, and the movie is The Seventh Seal with the iconic photograph there on the front. Yeah, it's a great movie. Good booklet on it. There's a 1989 tribute to Bergman by filmmaker Woody Allen on here. Yeah. Max von Sydow, of course, stars. I thought he was old here. He was only a young man here. I thought he was old. He also starred in The Exorcist as Father Marin, and in numerous other films, which you've seen him in over the years. But back then, in 1957, he was probably just a young man. Probably in his 20s. But I thought he was a lot older. His hair was, I guess, very blonde, very blonde. Almost looks white to me, though. Anyway, The Seventh Seal. Partly the reason I get into the Criterion films in the first place. A big part, actually. The movie intrigued me so much that I had to see it again, and I had to own it. I've seen this movie again, but it's another movie that I haven't opened. Why I haven't opened it, I don't know. I guess because I haven't gotten around to watching it on Blu-ray. This Andrei Tarkovsky's Solaris is the movie. Interesting image. Story of a scientist who goes to Jupiter, or where the heck is it? Oh no, it's the Solaris space station. And where are they at? I guess they're just off in space someplace. But there's some strange phenomenon going on that's affecting the crew. It's causing them some psychological damage, and he goes to investigate it. It's an extremely long film, 1972, 166 minutes, and it's in Russian, which I thought was interesting. Long. The booklet is thin. It's probably the reason I haven't opened it, I guess. And the other part is I've seen the movie, and I wanted to own it because I thought it was a movie that 164, I think, is a spine. A movie that was pretty influential, but it is slow going. I mean, it's a psychological. You're on a space station. There's not a lot of, but there's a lot of imagery that takes place as the psychological issues that affect others start to affect our doctor, scientist dude. So there is some images you can see on the cover. Interesting cover. Solaris. Not a great movie, but a good movie. And this last one's a great movie. I just watched this recently, as a matter of fact. Spine 516 from 1939, 96 minutes long, directed by the great John Ford. Really the first movie that featured John Wayne to any extent, and a great ensemble cast, I guess you'd call it, as the writers of. So it's got John Carradine, Claire Trevor, Thomas Mitchell, and of course John Wayne in Stagecoach. 5/16's the spine. And that is the last one on that shelf. What time are we looking at? 39 minutes? I'll go through the rest of these. Okay, picking up. I've got the rest of them off the shelf. I had a little technical glitch there. I guess you can only record so long of a piece. So while I was taking them off the shelf, the video ended. I cut that out, and now we're back with them all off the shelf. So first up, Sullivan's Travels, Joel McCrea, Veronica Lake, Spine 118 from 1941, 90 minutes, hour and a half. Black and white, monaural, 1.37 to 1 aspect ratio. This one, yeah. Hollywood director John L. Sullivan decides to make Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's the movie you know. A serious, socially responsible film about human suffering. After his producers point out that he knows nothing about hardship, Sullivan hits the trail disguised as a hobo. En route to enlightenment, he encounters a lovely but no-nonsense young woman, Veronica Lake, and more trouble than he has ever dreamed of. So this is one of these typical, it's comedy, road movies type things, and yeah, I thought it was funny. It's that typical 1930s, 40s type love story, but it's well done. I thought Gulliver's Travels was well done. Next up, how the heck did we go from that? Oh, never mind. I'm thinking of Gulliver's. It's Sullivan's Travels. How do we go from that to Summer Hours? Yeah, Summer Hours is a film by Olivier Assayas and a director approved. Interesting movie. Universally acclaimed by critics, the multiple award-winning Summer Hours is a great contemporary French filmmaker's Olivier Assayas' most personal film to date. 3 siblings played by Charles Berling, Juliette Binoche, who's in something else that escapes me, and somebody else whose name I can't pronounce, must decide what to do with the country estate and objects they've inherited from their mother. From the simple story, he creates an elegantly nuanced drama about the material of globalized modern living. Yeah, I mean, from 2008, 103 minutes is in color. It's in French. Spine 513. Summer Hours. The family does not get along, and the death and the property. I mean, it's so typical of families that I can speak from firsthand. Families who, when someone dies, there's bitterness and problems that surface as a result. So, Summer Hours. This next one, film from Michael Mann, starring James Caan. Pretty long movie, 691 from 1981, 124 minutes in color, 5.1 surround. Many will tell you that there's a better version of this out, but I thought this was fine, and I enjoyed it. It's a dual format, which I attempted to own most of the ones. Well, I do own most of the Blu-ray, DVD, dual formats that I wanted to own. They all went out of print because the DVD people complained they didn't want to pay for a Blu-ray. They didn't want to pay the extra $10 for a Blu-ray. But in reality, it would probably be more like $5 to have the Blu-ray and the DVD. You got to figure sooner or later they're going to switch to Blu-ray, right? Anyway, it's Thief with James Caan. I thought it was well done. Story of an ex-safecracker, ex-con man, whatever you want to call it, thief. Well, that's the best thing to call. Who gets together to form to do kind of one last heist, I guess. I liked it. Tuesday Weld is in it. She's beautiful. Willie Nelson is in it also, which is interesting. It's been a while since I watched this one, but I thought it was really well done. I liked the lighting. I liked the cinematography on it. Others have said it's not exactly what Michael Mann wanted, but this is the director-approved one, so I think it is. But there's another version that's floating around out there that you may want to check out as well. Aaron Pinn's channel, or Aaron Pinn would be a good source. I don't own that one, so he would be able to tell you why that's a better version than this one. Is it Masters of Cinema, maybe? Don't know. This is a good version still, and I would recommend Thief. Next up, a film by Terrence Malick. Terrence Malick, one of these directors that made a couple brilliant movies, and then disappeared for years, and then they were waiting for him to surface, and finally he did. He directed Badlands and Days of Heaven, by the way, which we've seen earlier. American artist Terrence Malick disappeared from the film world for 20 years, only to resurface in 1998 with his visionary adaptation of James Jones' 1962 novel about World War II battle for Guadalcanal. Big budget, spectacularly mounted epic with a lot of stars in it. It's very well done. 1998, 171 minutes. It's in color. It's got a surround sound soundtrack. Spine 536 looks like. Tons of extras. And I'm talking about The Thin Red Line. Yeah, really well done. Terrence Malick directs some wonderful films. If you're not familiar with Terrence Malick, I would suggest you check him out and check this movie out. Thick book with it. It's very, very well done. And I think it's very realistic in how it depicts war, and there's a scene where they have to try to. There's a group that's holding a hill, and they're trying to get up the hill. It's really intriguing scene, I thought anyway. Speaking of intriguing, Spine 722. This is another dual format Blu-ray DVD. This is from Pedro Almodovar. Colorful and controversial tribute to the pleasures and perils of the Stockholm syndrome. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is a rambunctious dark comedy starring Antonio Banderas, believe it or not, as an unbalanced but alluring ex-mental patient, and Victoria Abril as the B-movie and former porn star he takes prisoner in the hopes of convincing her to marry him. It's pretty controversial film. When you start, I thought the artwork on the disc was interesting. So he kidnaps her and holds her hostage, and tries to get her to fall for him, basically. Yeah, I thought it was well done. So, tie me up, tie me down. See these pretty quickly. I hear people are up and starting to make noise. So, Spine 37. Great slipcover on this. It's a film by Terry Gilliam. I've seen it many, many times. This is a lenticular slip. Unusual for it just changes the colors and moves around, but I thought it was pretty cool. Time Bandits, kind of a fairy tale type of story. A boy named Kevin escapes his gadget-obsessed parents to join a band of time-traveling dwarfs armed with a map stolen from the Supreme Being. They plunder treasure from Napoleon and Agamemnon, but the evil genius is watching their every move. So, yeah, it's a playful, allegorical, I guess, in some ways. Terry Gilliam is interesting director, and this is an interesting movie. Yeah. Time Bandits. If you haven't watched Time Bandits, it's well worth watching. I don't know if I'd call it a comedy. I don't know what I'd call it. Adventure story, I guess, of sorts. Yeah, this is an interesting movie, too. This has got that cheap brochure thing in it, but it was an interesting one. I think I got this cheap, too. Somehow I think this was cheaper than some others ones, and so I really wanted to get it. Spine 761. And it just intrigued me. 76 minutes, so it's not the longest movie you'll ever see. From 1970, it's in Czech with English subtitles. It's called Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. Yeah, it really is an interesting movie. This is a sensual fantasy land of vampires, witchcraft, and other threats in this eerie and mystical movie daydream. Valerie and Her Week of Wonders serves up an endlessly looping, nonlinear fairy tale set in a quasi-medieval landscape. Yep. Ravishingly shot, enchantingly scored, and spilling over with surreal fancies. This enticing phantasmagoria from director Yamomil Years. I'm sure I'm botching that. This is one of the most beautiful oddities of the Czech New Wave, I would say. Not a lot of extras, but it was an interesting movie. Very surreal, if you like that kind of thing. I do, so I enjoyed it, but not for everybody. This one's more for everybody. Filmed by Martin Rosen, Spine 748. The second animated film in the collection, right? I believe this was the second one. The first one was a Wes Anderson film. This is a Watership Down. Not for children. This is an adult film. Well, it's not for little kids. Not for little kids. Let me just put it there. It's not an adult film. but it's stars the voice talents of quite a few people. It's a faithful big screen adaptation of Richard Adams' classic British dystopian novel about a community of rabbits under terrible threat from modern forces. With its naturalistic, hand-drawn animation, dreamily expressionistic touches, gorgeously bucolic background design, and elegant voice work. It's a dark-themed and dark-toned allegory about freedom and political turmoil. Yeah. The rabbits live in an area that one of the rabbits learns is going to be soon, looks like he's going to be bulldozed for a housing development. He wants to leave, and others who are in charge of the rabbit kingdom, I guess, or the rabbit community, want him to stay, him and others. And and that's part of it, but that's, I guess that gives you an idea anyway of some of the plot. Water shit down. Getting close to the end here. This is the other film by Wim Wenders that I spoke about earlier. This is a director-approved Wings of Desire. Really interesting movie, and I love the cover on this. This is an angel, in German, by the way, and French, with English subtitles. This angel who's, looking down upon, I can't remember what city it is, but he falls in love. He's going to give up his immortality to come back to life to be with this love of his life. Yeah, it's a beautiful film. I really like it. It's a great love story of sorts. I think, well, there's a reason Wim Wenders is as well known as he is. It's very well photographed. The cinematographer, did I mention the cinematographer on this? I don't know if they do. Really hard to read this. Yeah, shot in black and white and color by the legendary Henri Alachan is movie poetry, I would say. It forever made the name Wim Wenders synonymous with film art. Yeah, it's very artistic, let's put it that way. A good way to put it. And you can tell just from that scene, can't you? Stand on top of a building, the angel. It's beautiful. And almost last but not another film by Ingmar Bergman. You'll see I have quite a few from him. I like this film as well as anything he's done, and I've got quite a few that he's done. This is tells a story through flashbacks and fantasies, dreams and nightmares. It's a story about a professor forced to come to face his past and come to terms with his faults. He is going to accept an honorary degree, and on the way there, he looks back over his life, I guess is the best way to say it. Wild Strawberries from 1957, 92 minutes long, black and white, and Swedish with English subtitles, 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio. Interesting, Ingmar Bergman of life and work, a 90-minute documentary is on this, which I thought was really good. I watched that. There's a booklet in here. Not real thick, but nonetheless. Here's our professor. He's nearing the end of his life. A lot of imagery in this. I thought it was a really well done. In fact, I need to watch this again. It's been a while since I watched Wild Strawberries. And lastly, I don't remember a lot about this movie, sadly. I watched it. Spy 339. You watch so many movies, sometimes they run together. This is from the year 2000, 173 minutes, at 2.0 surround sound. And it's in Mandarin with English subtitles. It's called Ya Ya Yi Yi. You tell me. It tells a story about a middle-class family in Taipei over the course of, over the course of 1 year, beginning with a wedding and ending with a funeral. Whether chronically the middle-aged father's tentative flirtations with an old flame, or the precocious young son Yang Yang's attempt of capturing reality with his beloved camera. That's right. The filmmaker definitely imbues every gorgeous frame with a compassionate clarity. Yeah, I certainly remember it was very... the images in the film, I recall, the wedding, the funeral, and so on, but I like that. that kind of an image. But it's not a plot that a ton happens in, if that makes sense. It's like everyday life. But I thought it was interesting. Anyway, that's yee, and that's the last of the Blu-ray Criterions, other than box sets, which I'll get to in the next video, and then the DVDs and the video after that, and the DVD box sets after that. And then we'll finally come around to the rest of the movie collection that I have, which is just a ton of crap. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, I guess. Comment, whatever, ask a question. Comment any of the movies. If you've seen that movie House, what do you think of House? If you've seen Antichrist, what do you think of Antichrist? And so on and so forth. Actually, that was from the prior video. Those are two I just got from Roger and added to my collection. In this one, if you've seen any of the movies that I've mentioned, what do you think of them? Are they for you? Are they not for you? You like subtitles or don't you? You like foreign films, or do you find them too hard to watch? My wife won't watch them because of the subtitles. I have no problem. I guess I've gotten past that somehow with just doing it. It's almost second nature. Do I see every lip motion? No, but I find I don't need to. I get the emotion on the face. I see that. I read the subtitle. I mean, it seems to work for me. Does it work for you? Have you ever tried it? If not, do you want me to recommend a movie for you to try that with, to see how you would do with that? There's a lot of great foreign films, and it seems a shame to only watch American films or English films. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up, and until the next time, Dean of DVD. Take care.